call to order this meeting of the Craft and Borough Council. The date is Monday, March 28th, 2016. Time is 7:15 p.m. First order of business is the flag salute by Mr. Amendola.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Amendola,
Yes.
Ms. Glasser, Ms. Damitz, Mr. O'Brien,
Here.
Ms. Perry,
Here.
Mr. Lavasser,
Here.
Ms. Amendola, Mayor Bloom,
Here.
Solicitor Gladys,
Here.
Solicitor Wool,
Here.
Engineer Strunk,
Here.
Public Works Director, Mr. Kezarowski.
Here.
Next order of business is the approval of the bill list for March 28th, 2016. Any discussion?
Yes, line item 40431 to a roof for $877.50. Why are we still paying?
That was to close out his last items because he still was gathering documents to provide to the new solicitor. So that was to close out the gathering of the documentation, things like that.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I know I asked about this a little earlier, but I thought it would be good for clarification. There's the FAST item where we paid $17,000 and some odd cents for nozzle damage. I believe you said that that was a prepayment?
Yeah, it was a pre-approval. There was an accident, the fire department had an accident, and we submitted to the insurance company. So we received reimbursement. We have a $3,000 deductible, or $3,000 or $4,000 deductible. So we received a check to cover the expense minus the deductible.
Okay, so that's really going to be pretty much zeroed out?
Right, pretty much zeroed out.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? All in favor? Say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? The next item on the agenda is a motion for the approval of the minutes for March 14th, 2016.
One note that I see, the minutes are accurate, that at the last meeting, we passed a motion to advertise for a special meeting on Tuesday, April 12th. I believe subsequent to that meeting, President Amendola asked it to be rescheduled to April 13th. Is that correct? There was an email to that effect?
That's what I believe.
And I believe on the calendar, it's still on the 12th as well.
I thought we scheduled it for the 11th, and she isn't going to be in town, and then we rescheduled it for the 12th. I'll have to verify that. Now you got me questioning because I don't have my computer with me.
Yeah.
I thought that's when we scheduled it for the 11th because that was the Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when she wasn't going to be back, so we made it the 12th. But please let me check and verify that. I can't be sure.
Okay, so that's my one stipulation.
Anyone else?
Yes, my motion is not in here that I asked for it to go on to this week's agenda, and none of that was on here, that, how I went about, asking for the minutes, my motion to go on this week. And anything's in there that I asked for, that we did a motion, there's nothing, Fred's discussion or anything that was said is with that motion.
What did you ask to be put on the agenda?
It was wasn't it the
The vote for the pool.
pool personnel?
Well, we only have interviews tomorrow.
No, it was this discussion that we hire the crafting kids first, and then Fred
Yeah, that's
We
old
had the
business.
motion, yeah, we had that motion.
We voted on that last
voted
week.
on
Yes, but it,
2
why
weeks
isn't
ago.
it in the minutes that I won the motion on for this week, and it's just in there that Mike won the motion? I mean, the whole thing wasn't in there. The whole discussion on it.
Okay, well, I don't recall, I'd have to listen to it again about it being on this week, because the interviews are only tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we're gonna hire the manager first and then hire the other kids. That's the way it's always been done in the past, the manager's been hired and then the other one. So, what would we put on, I mean, we'll put it on, I'll put it on in April, the first.
That's all right.
Well, I believe what it was, there was a motion that you had.
Right.
You wanted us to consider hiring Crafton someone from Crafton, possibly before someone from Ingram. And should we just scrap this one and have it for approval for next week?
Oh, that's fine, I
Okay,
can,
I mean,
I can
that's
add
the-
something,
Yeah, we'll just make it.
No.
I can add stuff.
If it's information, it should be.
No, I just wanted it to be on this meeting, so I could have worded it right and asked the solicitor. And Fred said, no, it's going on this meeting,
We voted,
on that meeting, on last meeting,
So,
okay? But none of that's in there, that he made me make the motion at that meeting. And the president, said, yes, we'll do it that way.
Can
And
I-
I just don't think it was fair for you to stand up and tell me that we're doing it this week and we're voting this week. And
if we could back up 2 weeks. You wanted to make a motion about that,
yes,
and you did it.
not the way I wanted it
so
done.
you
you
made-
want us to
excuse
do
me,
another
wait.
one? Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
You made a motion, and it was presented to the council, and there was a vote taken.
No, it went out that I was asking for a motion to be on this week's agenda.
Well, that's not the way we
And then
understood
you
it.
stood up and said, no, we're voting on it now, and you make the motion now. And it's just not in the minutes, and I'm just,
Okay, then I misunderstood, because the motion was made,
The motion was made,
Right,
that's,
and it was
How I understand
seconded,
it,
and
too.
it was denied, and that's,
the council president never said, Fred said he wanted it, and it's gonna go now, and the vote's going now, and none of that's in this.
okay, well, these aren't verbatim minutes.
so the minutes need to be adjusted to show that there was a vote taken 2 weeks ago
Yep.
for
There
her
was-
issue.
They are in the minutes,
That's in there.
That's in there?
yeah.
Yes.
What are you complaining about?
So-
I'm complaining at the fact that you stood up and yelled and screamed that it's gonna be
No, I-
this week,
I don't think I yelled and
and,
screamed.
and we're going to, well, if you can, look at the.
I'd be happy to. So if we can, I would be happy to look at the video, because that's why we videotaped.
But just so it's clear, there was a motion
And it was seconded.
that, and it was second, about hiring Crafton kids before hiring Ingram kids, regardless of their,
So what are we gonna?
But I had the floor at the time,
Excuse me.
and I said that I wanted it to be this week.
well, you
And
know,
you stood up and said, no, we're
I didn't
doing it now,
understand.
and we're voting now.
did anyone here understand that she was saying that she wanted to have a vote the following week?
It was very confusing at the
It
end.
was very confusing.
Yes.
Mr. President, may I speak? Since there seems to be some confusion, I don't think there's anything in the rules that would prohibit you from putting a different motion up that would ask for a slightly different vote. Is there? Okay.
Well, there you go.
That's why I asked it to be this week, and
Right.
it didn't happen that
It
way.
doesn't have to be on the agenda, you can make a motion anytime you want.
And if that was what you said, that's not what I heard on this, and, so I apologize, it's just, these are,
So, to a point of, about the special meeting, there's an email from you on March 15th that said, I spoke with Nina this morning, and she will be out of town Tuesday, April 12th. Therefore, she asked that we move the meeting to Wednesday, April 13th, beginning at 7 p.m. And then several of us did say that we could attend. You don't have responses from everybody in this, but we may have had
Okay.
individual ones.
So then I'll have to fix them and change the minutes.
Any more discussion about the approval of the minutes for March 14th?
Am I supposed to do that?
Should we postpone it we'll postpone it, look into it? Is-
No, no, go ahead.
Yep.
All right. All in favor?
I need a motion first.
Motion to approve the minutes of the meeting from March 14th, 2016.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
She has discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would move that we postpone the acceptance of these minutes until the issue is clarified for the next meeting.
There's already a motion, but you gotta finish that first.
Okay.
For us to postpone it, though, do we back out of it? Do we?
Table it.
We'll table it.
But you have to finish your motion here first.
Okay, all in favor? Say aye. All opposed?
No.
No.
I'm not quite sure what we just voted for.
The approval of the minutes.
For the approval of the minutes for,
And then I'll make a motion that it's tabled till we clarify the issue.
anyone second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is citizens' comments regarding agenda items only. And I do not believe anyone was signed up, correct?
That's correct.
All right, next on the agenda is the acknowledgement of the receipts of the written reports for January 2016. It's the treasurer's report, financial report, Act 511, and trash collection reports, property tax collection report, police report, EMS report, ordinance officers report, building inspection report, and public works report. Any discussion on those reports?
I have a couple of questions. On the police report, is there any information about, looks like there's an uptick in hit and runs this past month? Looks like we have 4 of them.
Oh, the hit and runs, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, it was one thing that seemed like it ticked up quite a bit.
It would be considered a bad period, you know, when you get the hit and runs. I mean, generally, they're pretty low, you know, and I seriously doubt if they were weather-related versus, you know, probably somebody hit a car and didn't want to be around for when the police arrived type of thing, so.
So is there any thought that, did they occur close to each other, potentially the same perpetrator or
No,
something like that?
No, it wouldn't be.
So we're just saying it's a total anomaly?
Yeah, it just,
Okay,
it was just weird that it happened that way.
all right, all right. On the inspection report, I had a question. I've noticed the 2 that we've gotten so far for the occupancy reports. The occupant name has always been left blank, and I believe we do have an ordinance that requires recording the occupant's name as part of that report. And I'm just wondering why that seems to be the case.
the way that it's been prepared in the past and has continued. Nobody's ever asked for it before, so.
Okay. Is
again,
it possible to check our ordinance? Because I may have misread it, but I believe there is an ordinance.
We notify, like Jordan Tax Services, we just don't put it on this report. I mean, we prepare, like Jordan Tax Services, the garbage company, all those notifications are properly made. You know, so that's not an issue, but it probably is just the way that it's been prepared in the past, so.
It's the only thing that we have visible to know that the occupants are being correctly identified, is this report. And I believe that there is an ordinance. If I'm wrong, fine, we can just check.
Oh, it's an ordinance to do the occupancy. I don't think the ordinance will tell you how to do the reporting. The reporting is done to Jordan Tax and to the, you know, the school district, the other taxing bodies. It's prepared and is given, provided to them through
Okay,
the
so
occupants.
is there some report that can make that visible to council?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we'll just have to revise it, that's all.
Okay.
Any other comments?
I do have one more comment, I'm sorry. I have been asked by a number of my constituents, our constituents, that says, okay, every meeting that we come to, you know, we have this acknowledgement of receipts of written reports. And they say, how do we know what's up? Because all we do is we acknowledge that we receive them. Some of us may read them, some may not. And I actually do have a question about whether some or all of these are public records and should be made available, say, along with the agenda. I mean, I think the only one of everything that I'm reading that might not be would be the second page of the EMS report, which has specifics in it. But the summary page that gives the information about the number of, you know, of calls and the types of calls, seems like that would be stuff that the public has every right to know about.
Those are available in the office. If they ever wanted to stop in, they can make those if they're available.
I understand that, but part of what we're talking about and part of why some of us are here are looking for ways to make information more accessible to the public. I mean, if there's any reason that the only way they can see it is coming to the office, I mean, that's got to be interruptive of the daily schedule. And I would think that if it's something that can be put on the website and it would satisfy constituencies who would like to know what's in the reports as far as, you know, our police report, our ordinance, you know, those sorts of things, that we ought to do it.
Yeah, and I may take a moment to discuss that matter. I was hoping that in our work session on the 11th, 12th, or 13th, whatever day it may be, that we could discuss these matters of public administration in a public forum and have an open dialogue and, you know, look to the future of our public administration and these details, because there's a lot of valuable information. A lot of it is just purely public, and we can move forward with open records and with the technology and figure out economic operation to enable this information to be shared, because it is one of those things that came up over and over again while on the campaign trail from the residents about transparency and open information. So I think there's a wealth of topics, and I think this topic should be considered for our work session. And obviously it's a public session, so I would invite the public to participate, because as we move Crafton forward, there's a lot of opportunity to improve on our policies and processes and open the communication. So that's my piece on that. Thank you.
And one final one. Is there a fire report that should be in this group of reports? Because I haven't seen anything. Either of these 2 months, I don't think, on the fire department.
I have to check with him. That may be done on an annual basis, but I've never received a report from the fire chief, so I'd have to check with him.
Okay, and it's just all of our other departments report on a monthly basis. And so,
Okay, well, he's-
just a question. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Next on the agenda is the mayor's report.
I'd just like to report that there's going to be a festive Arbor Day celebration on April 22nd of 2016 at 11 a.m. over by the library. That's all I have.
Thank you. Next is the engineer's report.
All right, the 2016 sewer repair contracts, we have excavation of sewers, lining of sewers. Those bid openings for both of those are on Wednesday of this week. CCTV, we're just waiting on concurrence from all the participants in the Shakog contract. That contract should get started in April. The manhole rehab and the preventive maintenance, which is the sewer cleaning contracts, they are actually out for survey to all the Shakog communities right now, and those probably will start design phase next month as well. Road program, we are set to advertise March 30th, so this Thursday, and we'll have bid opening on Wednesday, April 20th. The pool splash pad project expected to be complete in a couple of weeks, and we did process a payment request for the contractor, and you can see for about $17,000. If the motion passes tonight, Gateway will get started on the design, plans and specs of a pipe bursting project on Duncan Avenue, kind of Duncan and Steuben area. It's a 24-inch diameter pipe that just has some issues, and we would like to pipe burst it to correct those issues. And then last on here, 217 Lincoln demolition is complete, and we submitted recommendation for payment to Char West Cog last week. That's it.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is the solicitor's report.
3 items for this evening. One is the chicken ordinance, for which you held a public hearing at the last meeting. It was kind of apparent to me that people are already keeping chickens in the borough of Crafton. That the council may want to consider moving on this ordinance to get ahead of what's already going on. So that's up to council to make that motion to act on that at council's pleasure. 78 Fountain is a problem property. We have two things going on with that right now. One is Attorney Bowl from our office is in court trying to take the property down, take the structure down because it's dilapidated. This past week, last week, the homeowner had filed a tax appeal, and his counsel showed up at the tax appeal hearing with an appraisal that showed the property was worth negative $5,000. And one way or another, this property will be resolved in the near future. 1528 Bar Avenue was a weeds and bushes type of issue. The homeowner was in violation of the code. The homeowner lost at the district justice level filed an appeal to downtown Pittsburgh. In between the loss and the appeal hearing downtown, the homeowner apparently cleaned up some of the property, enough to the satisfaction of the judge downtown, who found the homeowner not guilty of the code violation, but told him not to come back. Does anyone have any questions?
With 78 Fountain, now you said that person had brought in information about the assessment. What happened after that information?
Well, it was a tax appeal, and typically, these matters get settled in front of what's called the Board of Viewers. And there were 3 counsel there for taxing authorities. There was myself for the Borough of Crafton, there was a solicitor for the Carlinton School District, and there was an Allegheny County solicitor. And between the 3 of us, we concluded that at this point in time, that we would agree that the property was worth what the gentleman had paid for it when he purchased it, as opposed to a negative $5,000. It's difficult for us to say that the property is worth more, because we're in the process of taking the guy to court to try to tear the structure down.
Right, but the physical real estate is not worth negative $5,000.
Well, it is,
The physical property, the real property, the building, the improvement, he can claim that to zero, but you cannot claim in the county books that property is worth less than market.
he's claiming negative because of the fact that, at least as far as Crafton is concerned, he's facing a tear down of the property, which makes it, you know, basically a minus 10,000 to start. So,
Yeah, well, just for the public, that's flawed logic when we come down to the actual real estate value, the actual land cost.
we have to decide whether we want to try to raise the taxes on one hand or take down the property.
Right,
That's our dilemma, and it's hard to argue both sides of that.
right. I understand. I just want to publicly say it's impossible to have a negative land cost unless you have a brownfield site. I mean, and even a brownfield has a cost.
Well, I'm relatively certain that the negative appraisal will come back to haunt the gentleman when it comes time to go to court to take the property down.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, next on the agenda is business agenda. Under personnel, interviews with pool manager applicants are scheduled for tomorrow, 3/29/2016. And next on, under that is a motion. I will entertain a motion to reappoint Mary Luxbacher to the Shade Tree Commission for the term expiring 3/31/2021.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Oh,
I was gonna say, Mary does a great job, and she's been a vital part of this community, and I think she deserves to continue in this role.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, under the business agenda is comprehensive planning. There was a steering committee meeting on March 22nd, 2016. And there is a new website, and I think Mr. Lavasser wanted to discuss that.
Yes, on Tuesday, March 22nd, in the evening, DCED, the Allegheny County Planning Commission, Crafton and Ingram boroughs, and our steering committee met. The steering committee is composed of residents and counselors from both boroughs. We met, discussed the plan moving forward. The unveiling of the citthrive.wordpress.com website was unveiled. This information was shared with Manager Scott. This website is going to be posted on both Crafton and Ingram's websites. We're going to be working with the consultant that Crafton and Ingram have contracted on this project to develop pop-up events to inform the community. We're going to have a walking tour event as well. There will be more information posted on the CIT Thrive website, and I encourage everybody to become more involved in this process. This process is being funded by both boroughs, Allegheny County and DCED, and we look forward to the report that will be coming out in the fall. But we need everybody's participation through this process to ensure that all the messages and information are heard to inform the process. So as we do our tour of the community and do these pop-up events, I do hope that everybody participates and becomes involved, because this process will inform planning processes for both communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Next on the agenda is under administration. Notice Jordan Tax Services, collection at Crafton Borough Building, Tuesday, April 26th, 2016, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. for real estate taxes. And then Friday, April 29th, 2016, 9 a.m. to noon for real estate taxes. Next is the discussion on the utility service line program, National League of Cities, leaking, clogged, or broken water and sewer lines from utility connection to the home exterior and in-home water and sewer lines. Yes.
The National League of City contacted me and provided me with a presentation that they would like to come in and discuss. What they're looking for is consent and support of the community. It's from all across the country, so if your water line or your sewer line, and a lot of, like PA American Water Company, you can buy that water line insurance as well, but this is through the National League of Cities. It's supported through the United States, and there's different parameters. Thank you. There's different parameters for each of the services. They have about a 95% coverage rate, and it's a great opportunity for the residents, and they would like to come in and do a little presentation to council because they're looking for support of the community. So that's why I put it on the agenda. Maybe we could, there's no hurry, we could do it they did do a presentation to the COG. So there's no hurry for them to come in. We could do it since we already have a special, we could wait till May. I just wanted to see if we could get it on the agenda. They could come in earlier. It's not gonna be, a 2-hour thing. We could have them come in prior to a regular meeting and make the presentation. They would be happy to do something like that as well.
So is this an insurance program?
It's an insurance program.
For the line
Water
from the
and
house to the
sewer.
connector?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's just for water and sewer, but it's also your indoor, inside. It's not just your lateral, it would be your inside lines as well.
Mhm.
Those are 3 different types of insurance they offer.
Right.
So they did do a presentation to the COG, so I don't know if anybody was able to take advantage of that or, see that. but they would like to come and make a presentation. Robinson, the only one that participates in this area right now is Robinson. But they're new to this, well, they've done it across the country, but they're new in Allegheny County. So, I'd like to get some ideas when you'd like to have them come in.
And this would be for the public as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're making the presentation, they're looking for craft and support right now. That's what they're gonna do. They're not gonna ask for a list of our, residents via the SOAR billing or anything like that. They will go out and they'll get their own listing. They just wanna be able to put in their letter that Grafton Borough supports the National League of Cities to offer this program to the residents. So it's really just a matter of support. So, sure, I mean, we can make it open to the public, there's nothing, but I wanted council to take the opportunity to review, to listen to what they have to say, to see what they're gonna offer to the residents.
So they're basically looking for our good housekeeping seal of approval.
That's right, that's exactly what they're looking for. They're not looking for any monies from the borough, they're not looking for, they're not looking for a list of residents, they're looking for our approval and support. And like I said, the only, Robinson manager, we had a meeting, a COG meeting, we meet on a monthly basis, and he said the program's working really well in Robinson and hasn't had any complaints or any problems, and it seems that anybody that has submitted a claim has been covered. So he was very supportive and, spoke very highly of the program. So I think it would be a great opportunity, instead of paying, PA American, they outsource it, just as this would be outsourced. It's not Grafton, it's the National League of Cities that has the insurance. So it would be an opportunity, and instead of paying 3 different checks, you would have one opportunity to pay for your water, your sewage, and your indoor as well.
Right, and is this are they a registered insurer, or are they for-profit, non-profit? Will they go over the
National,
details?
yeah, they'll go over the details, but National League of Cities is a nonprofit organization, but, so they have the insurance, it's just a program they are offering, overseeing.
Right, and they're registered with the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, because they go across the country. And what's really nice is that, it may cost $4,000, but if you just did it with a pot in Allegheny County, you're not gonna have a big enough pot where you're going across the country, so you would have, more people that
Right,
would
they're
participate.
trying to expand their insurance pool.
Exactly. And they're looking for our support.
Yeah.
So, all I'm looking for is the date. You wanna let them come to the next one? Wanna wait till May? There's a lot going on. We can wait. There's no hurry about this or anything like that.
Do we need a motion to?
No, I'm just looking for suggestions.
I would think maybe we should wait until May to have them
Okay.
come speak with it.
Okay, well, our meeting would be May 9th.
Councilman Amidal, how do you feel about that?
Yeah,
Councilman Tamas?
It would be May 9th or May 23rd. Like, maybe we could start at 6:30 on May 9th and have them come in at 6:30 and go from 6:30 to 7:15. She said it would only take, well, depends on many questions and stuff like that, but she said 20 minutes and half an hour is really all she needs.
I'm on board.
Okay.
I'm okay. Next, Dennis.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is under zoning and planning. We'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 1634, regulating the keeping of chickens within the borough of Grafton in and by a single-family dwelling as defined as R1 zoning district by the zoning ordinance.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Gladys did a great job writing the ordinance, and I just wanted to address one issue and clarify it. I read it over a couple of times, and the noise issue, we will be able to enforce that rule. pertaining to the noise outside of the boundary of the property. So it's my understanding that if that noise goes beyond the boundary of the property, then we can enforce that.
Yes.
Okay, and the ordinance officer would basically go up and give the owner a warning, and if it would continue, or we would get complaints, then, we could follow up with citing the owner of the chickens, or, okay, I just want to make that clear.
Either under the ordinance or as a nuisance.
Okay.
There's more than one way.
Okay.
Anyone else?
And I think the point to Councilman Amendola is that seems to be the one objection we've heard in front of council, is the noise, the potential. Is that correct?
Yeah, but it seems like he's
No,
got,
that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying
he's got it
that I
covered.
think that's the only thing that was raised, and you verified that it's covered, the enforceability of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And noise being within reasonable noise, it would be unfair to make a noise complaint, that's unreasonable, as in, you don't like the fact there's a chicken, and you're going to abuse the noise ordinance. I think hopefully everybody will be fair to their neighbor and apply that within reason. And so we're actually asking that everybody be reasonable, because I think as we walk down this path and look at noise ordinances, we have to ensure that the noise ordinance is uniform, because there's a lot of other nuisance claims that can be made against a variety of animals, vehicles, and other noises. So hopefully people are fair in their judgment when they report a complaint.
Anyone else? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Amendola?
Yes.
Ms. Stamets?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes?
Ms. Perry?
Yes,
Mr. Lavasser?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion carries. Next, under zoning and planning, is a motion to approve with conditions preliminary and final subdivision application for 36 West Steuben Street, as submitted by Richard Angros, as recommended for approval by the Crafton Borough Planning Commission at their meeting of March 21st, 2016.
so moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
Actually, maybe I shouldn't second that since I'm on the planning commission. Would somebody else be willing to?
Second.
Thank you.
Discussion?
I'll make a few comments on behalf of the planning commission. We reviewed the application on the 21st. We reviewed the plans with the engineer. The engineer was present, or what is
James Thomas.
Yeah, what is James Thomas is
He's an engineer.
yeah, engineer, all right. So we did have a engineer present. With the details, we just wanted to reiterate zoning's comments. Zoning did a very thorough job. The engineer made a few comments to their plans. I believe it was for being accepted and moved forward. And with reviewing the plan with the landowner, it became very apparent that this is quite the undertaking, an investment in the community, and it's something that we should encourage, as it is positive infill development, brings occupancy up within the borough, and takes advantage of the utilities in place. So it's type of infill development we'd like to see. Yes, there will be a existing structure that will be demolished. However, the net benefit to the community is rather significant, and that is why the planning commission made the recommendation that it has to this council. So that's closing of my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, under zoning and planning, is a notice, planning commission vacancy for the term expiring, April 13th, 2017. There's an opening for that. Submit letters of interest to the borough offices. Next on the agenda is under Public Works. I will entertain a motion to authorize advertise plans and specifications for pipe bursting contract for approximately 185 linear feet of 24-inch pipe for work to be completed on Duncan Avenue as recommended by the engineer.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is a motion to authorize payment request number 5 in the amount of $16,946.91 payable to Stone Ridge Incorporated as recommended by the engineer.
So moved.
Second. Could we just have the manager just elaborate a little more on the payment, just so we make a connection between the agenda items?
That's for the swimming pool.
All right. Okay? All right, thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is, I will entertain a motion to award the cleaning of the basement in the municipal building to Firewater Restoration in the amount of $7,417.48.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion?
when did they start?
So they can authorize them. Sure, they can start probably about a week, I would say.
I believe there were 2 bids, and there was some discussion about the removal of the contents. And if I remember correctly, this bid does not include that. Has there been any provisions
Yeah,
made for
he's
that?
going to remove them, the majority, we just have to tell him where to put it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is to award, I will entertain a motion to award the bid for cleanup of 8 identified vacant properties: Baldwick, North Emily, Fountain, Lawson, Union, Dinsmore, and Crafton Boulevard, as recommended by the Public Works Director and Code Enforcement Officer to Bossetti Lawn Care in the amount not to exceed $5,150.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Now, will they be cleaning, like, they'll be taking debris and cutting the grass?
That's correct.
And this isn't for maintenance, this is just for one time?
One time.
Okay. Anyone
And
else?
then the price goes down significantly if we want to incorporate them on a, semi-annual basis, or whether we want to do it again in just the fall. But of course, hopefully, the debris won't be there, it'll just be grass cutting.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is discussion. PWSA meeting, the consent order, region-wide source reduction study, green infrastructure program. Does anyone want to discuss that?
I attended the meeting last week with Green Tree, and in our administrative consent order that we signed in December of 2016, or 15, pardon me, we are required to do a green infrastructure project. Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority has presented to the communities or the engineers that were there. They want to do approximately 14 green infrastructure projects throughout Allegheny County. 7 for the combined source systems, 7 for the separated systems. They do not have locations at this time, but they believe that they'll all be in the right of ways. So basically, they gave a printout of, they don't even know what the projects are gonna be, so it was a little premature, the meeting. But I will tell you that they gave everybody a listing, and I provided council with a copy of it. Right now, Crofton is lowballed at approximately $139,000, and the high would be $258,000. That's if the total project is over $21 million, and they're looking for the local foundations to provide a $5 million grant to the program, and Alcoasand to provide a $5 million grant to the program as well. So that would be our cost if that $10 million is accounted for, and 83 communities participate. If all 83 communities don't participate, then that number could go up and down. So it was, you know, I'm not completely sold. I'm not sure how Gateway feels about it. I've talked to numerous managers since the meeting, and it just seemed like it was, oh, and by the way, this all has to be constructed by August of 2017. So it just seems a little bit premature. They don't even know what they want to build or where they want to build it. But they just know they want 14 green infrastructure projects. So Crofton will have to, we did send a letter of support that we would support PWSA. That was in December. But it's just a discussion right now. So they're looking for other members. And of course, there'll be simultaneously continued meetings about these projects. And like I said, that's basically that all we've received was the amount that we can anticipate, 139, 258,000.
So is this a project that would be in addition to our requirements?
No, that would be our requirement, that would meet our
That would
requirement.
meet our
So
requirement.
it may be in Ingram. They would
Mhm.
put, let's say a bioswale in, or
Right.
something, a
Mhm.
green infrastructure project. That would be, we would participate in that,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be our cost. And, but then there's no talk of maintenance either.
Right, and
So-
there's no direct, there may not be any direct benefit for Crafton. although the
Well, it
idea
would
is
be
that
a
if it's
source
strategic,
reduction.
yes,
It would be a source reduction, and
that
that's.
counts in the consent order.
Absolutely, yeah, it would be a source reduction of reducing the amount of stormwater and
It
turning
comes to us.
into Alcoasand system.
Right. Mhm.
So that's, but,
So then if all of the participating organizations, regardless of where that source reduction is coming from, if the source reduction would be spread out?
yes,
credited, so to
across
speak.
all of Allegheny County,
Yeah, okay.
right. So there would be 7 storm sewer, or sanitary, separated systems, 7 for the combined sewer. So there may be one in the city of Pittsburgh, that we would, would be it basically would be done by watershed. So
Right.
Chartiers would be the watershed that we would contribute to.
Mhm.
So,
But
for the most
but
part.
you're basically saying there, you had a meeting last week and construction is due in less than 18 months and we don't have a plan.
And they don't even know what they want to build, or where they want to build. So, I mean, it's a little skeptical. you know, I did ask a question, I said, so where are you gonna put these? Like, are you gonna put it in the right of way, but then you still have utilities, and God forbid you have a railroad track to cover, because you'll never get a permit in 18 months. So, you know, I'm very skeptical, to say the least. But we also have a project on Steuben Street that we're working with Alcoasand. Rob and I and Phil have met with Alcoasand. We're trying to get funding for us to do a bioswale or a rain garden in front of Steuben Street and where the pool is, and possibly pervious pavement in the parking lot. So if I can get Alcoasand to pay for half that price, why would I pay $139,000 to, you know, participate with PWSA? So we have other options. We're looking at other options.
I would like to point out that you won't be paying it personally.
Okay, well,
whether
whatever, the borough,
The
what we
borough
recommend.
would recommend it.
Pardon me.
May I ask a question? Speaking of consent order, the Clearview Avenue project, what was that covered under, what did that
Actually, we discussed that,
satisfy?
that could actually be
That could.
grandfathered into
Yeah.
the program, so.
Because I was gonna say, how many more phases do we need to figure out how to fund on the Clearview project?
There's two,
Yeah.
there's two more phases.
And are there any more storm scepters and other infrastructure that
I
has to
don't
go?
think they're designed yet,
Right.
but I'm sure they could be designed in just like the other phases.
Because as we discuss the potential for a capital improvement program, and I was sort of waiting to see the Department of Community Economic Development and Crafton and Ingram's plan with this study that we're in the middle of. I was hoping that council would entertain a capital improvement program that would consider taking advantage of the low bond rates that are currently at market, and maybe we could work with our engineer to develop some of these concepts that Manager Scott has brought to council and has a lot of information from her previous experience, along with the experience of Gateway, and how we could leverage these resources and these ideas that help us achieve some of the infrastructure needs that we have with regards to roadway and sewer improvements, because I think there's a lot the borough could do to achieve these ends, and really demonstrate our creativity and engineering ability through Gateway. And I think it would be very interesting to have more discussion on these items, because I think just seeing how the Clearview Avenue project worked, it has been very effective at peak flow, because the reality is we're slowing the rate of water to the watershed. I mean, we're not reducing it, we're slowing the rate, so we're reducing the overall peak flow and managing that flow. And I think that's important for the community to understand, because the reality is we live in a very, very wet region, and we have a lot of saturation in the groundwater table, and this also impacts our sewer systems, and we have to look at infiltration. We do have a combined system, and I think there is a lot of opportunity to work with some of these concepts, especially the manager brought pervious cover. I think there's a lot of things that we could do, and I think we need to continue these type of dialogues and figure out, do you think the PWSA would be open to incorporating these ideas in some of these other infrastructure plans, or do you think they're really looking for standalone type developments to
I
mitigate?
have no idea. They hadn't shared their design on anything. They haven't shared it with anybody.
Yeah.
They just know that they want to do 14 green infrastructure projects, and they haven't, you know, shared locations, or they haven't determined design, what they want to install, whether it's a riparian buffer zone, or whether it's a green infrastructure project, you know, whatever. They haven't even shared that. So I have no idea. I can't comment on that. They haven't given it to anybody. They didn't provide that information at the meeting.
Yeah, I think Gateway, you could add some color to this and and help us through this process as we entertain these ideas. Because I think that we could achieve two means. We could achieve the infrastructure improvements that the community wants to see with regards to improving our sewers and our roads, and making it a little greener and reducing our peak flow. So hopefully we can continue to get you guys to be vocal and bring some of these good ideas to council with the manager. Thanks.
Thank you.
And I don't know when the next meeting is, but whenever it is, I will attend and, report back to council. But I have no, they haven't determined that yet.
Thank you. Anyone else? Next, discussion item, the purchase of a skid steer and milling machine as recommended by Public Works Director. Proposal received by Murphy Tractor. 2016 budget includes $75,000. Anyone want to speak to that?
Rob and I are gonna talk about that, but Rob, you wanna tell them what this equipment will be used for?
Really, what everybody knows in the borough is that there's an issue of problem with some of our, mostly tertiary streets and some of our secondary streets. This piece of equipment will actually help the borough do some full depth reclamation on the alleyways themselves. It's a, if I could have some kind of media, I can give you a little presentation on it, just a little demo, shows you exactly what the machine does. What it essentially is a little milling machine with grinding teeth on it that attaches to the front of the skid steer. You have the ability to adjust depth and width of the equipment that actually enables us to grind up the existing road base. It goes, or existing road surface down to the road base. What it does, the end results are recycled material that can be used and compacted back onto that street, filling the voids, fixing, leveling off the base, improving the drainage. And then we can compact it and roll it, which actually during the summer months, the recycled asphalt actually has an opportunity to reheat and become solid. So it's not exactly a new road, but it's going to be better than the conditions that we have now in our tertiary streets. And it would enable us to get a little lead time to actually go in and do some resurfacing on the streets. For 2017, I'd like to present council with some information on a small type milling machine. I'm exploring the opportunity to train our employees and rent a small one to get caught up in some of our secondary streets and tertiary streets. They will be trained and will enable us to actually get caught up. This piece of equipment can also be used to do what I call blowout patch repairs. Enable us to patch more permanent patches. I'll use Bradford as an example. Some of the sections of Bradford that are totally worn out asphalt, cold patch material won't stick any of that hot stuff, but instead of laying a hot patch material over top of it, this machine, which is, again, attaches to the front of the skid loader, will enable us to actually mill the section of Bradford, come in with a better, more solid, more permanent patch, and we can compact it better using the existing good asphalt on the sides as key cuts to keep the material in. So instead of us coming out just raking some hot stuff, filling the potholes, will enable us to do more permanent patches on the existing roadways that we have now. It's a good piece of equipment that can be used for patching, for road reconstruction, again, full depth reclamation, and actually help us improve the roadways.
The backhoe that's on here is part of I did apply for a grant in November of 2015. It's a recycling program grant. It has to deal with the fact that we are a combined sewer community, and it's for a additional leaf collector and leaf box. And included in there is $31,000 for the purchase of the backhoe. So if we get the grant, we get the full grant. You submit what you can and what you want, and we'll get reimbursed for some advertising. We get credit for the printing of some of the recycling news and information that we send out, that kind of thing. So you apply for the application. We have not heard. They just passed the state budget, as you're aware. So I called the DEP today, and they said it's been reviewed, and he has no idea when they will consider it or approve or disapprove. But I wanted to let you know that included, that's why the backhoe's on there as well, that we would get $31,000 for the purchase of it toward the backhoe.
Which is the back, oh, I'm sorry.
At the very top, you'll see the
The
backhoe
310
letter.
I saw.
Oh,
Is
up
a
here,
hundred-
okay, I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong document.
I did upload this, I was having trouble with my computer, but this front top sheet is on the copy, but this is a
Okay.
breakdown of everything. This is a copy of the actual list
Here, a little
of the
tidbit on the
project.
backhoe. The backhoe's a 1999 New Holland 555. And actually, that's probably your biggest workhorse in the borough. That's used to do the compost material. We use that to set the windrows and mix the compost as it comes in, which Grafton Borough has a very high rating for every test that was performed down there. So, meeting with the DEP and the manager, I feel confident we probably have a pretty good shot at being successful with the grant opportunity. The backhoe is up not only for that, which enabled us to get the funding for the backhoe, basically was the compost site, but also is the workhorse for any type of emergency response, whether it be tree removal, fallen trees, and especially during snow and ice control events. That's our backbone for loading our trucks. So the backhoe is a critical piece of equipment for the operation of the borough.
Can I ask you a question about the backhoe? Given that the backhoe is pretty vital, is it worth our while to trade it in, or are we better retaining it? Or what's the mechanical state of it? I'm trying to think of the cost benefit. I mean, are we better off holding on to it and having two? I mean, I'm always in favor of having two instead of one, so.
Well, the older it gets, the more difficult it is to get parts and do repairs.
So
At
if
the
it's,
point, it's gonna take us probably weeks to find a part. So I definitely would need a backup, or, do I wanna keep it as a backup? No. I think
same thing for the skid steer.
the skid steer itself is something that I probably wouldn't have purchased that type. I think the kind that we're getting is a proper type of piece of equipment to be in the borough. It couldn't even handle the milling machine's an attachment that goes onto the skid loader.
So we're better in your mind, taking the trade-in deal.
Yes.
And
Yes, my recommendation would be
writing
both
off.
pieces of
Okay.
equipment.
And then an overall return on investment for both, less the discounts and the trade-ins. Overall, what would you say the return on our investment for these pieces of equipment? Fairly quickly, you see a gain.
For the skid loader would be immediately. We could probably have the skid loader and a milling machine on the road within 2 weeks.
Yeah, but overall, the work that we're accomplishing, if we had outsourced it, we're largely, we're getting our money's worth out of it.
Definitely. The skid steer, again, is another part of equipment that we use to do park maintenance. We use it for
Right.
backup to the backhoe in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So we have that backup piece of equipment for emergencies as well.
So I guess.
You'll probably get 20 years out of each piece of equipment.
Yeah,
We have about 475 hours in a year when we get a backhoe, and roughly about the same on the skid steer.
so the skid steer includes the asphalt road hog
Yes.
mill?
Yes.
So it's a skid steer about 60 what is the most, I'm just trying to look at the breakdown, is it in there, or, I'm just trying to understand what the breakdown is of the,
Yeah, we had to break.
Oh, yeah, it's here, it's here, page 3, is that it?
no,
No, that's
no,
the
it's
bridge,
not.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just trying to figure out, like, how much does the asphalt road hog mill cost in the district?
Actually, if I bought it separate, it's probably looking, I looked at a different brand.
The Road Hog is 39, it's about 40,000, it's 39,334, so almost 40,000.
We would buy it from a different vendor. There's another company that specializes in this type of equipment. I priced that. It was about 62,000.
Yeah,
This
so,
this company's a.
yeah, just for so the public understands, our investment of this $40,000 is gonna pay for itself.
Probably paid for something to do two tertiary alleyways.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm just trying to
I mean,
get the
it's,
public to understand why we're making this investment. Which goes into the terms, and if we look at, as a council, look at the option 1, 2, and 3, or hold on, option 1 and 2, pardon me, for the, I guess they're sort of like, so, there's really like 5,
There's several options, yeah.
there's several financing options, it sort of goes into,
and we did have a chance to demo this piece of equipment. I was very much impressed with it. It was on the tertiary
Yeah, I'm already sold, I'm just trying to figure
Yeah,
out.
I'll just give you a heads up, it was on a tertiary street that has very heavy in the middle. When I called, when I had my old Buick, when I was checking the streets in the borough, my old 1996 Buick. When I bought it out, I knew that street was in pretty bad shape, and this was the first one we used, the demo, the milling machine on was the first one that I bottomed out on my,
You can take it up to Willard while you're at it.
well, being that grade is gonna be a little tough.
So you're saying you won't even be able to do Willard when you get that?
He doesn't have the car anymore, so he doesn't do the Buick test anymore.
Everybody can come for a ride with me in my Lincoln MKS.
He doesn't do the Buick test
I'm gonna be
anymore.
sticking your body out that you said that, Philip.
Anyone else?
Well, there's several options in as far as the financing goes. We do have a $75,000 budget in our capital project fund, but we do have some additional items that we are doing this year, including the vacancy, vacant lot property cleanup, the cleaning of the borough building. So I wanted to provide some additional items. John Deere, if we wanted to, take the total price is $169,000. We have $75,000 budgeted. That's a balance of $94,000. So if we wanted to do it for approximately 95, John Deere would give it to us for 3.5 years, 3.5%. For 7 years, it's approximately $22,000 a year, and it's in 2017. PNC, I don't think he understood my question.
You're saying the
because
first payment is due in 2017?
That's correct, yeah.
So it's-
So it would be, now, if we got the $31,000, it's a reimbursable grant, I already checked with the DEP, that would be covered. So whenever I we would keep that invoice aside, and then if we get awarded that monies, then we submit that, and they'll send us a check for 31, and then we would be able to put that on the loan as soon as we received it. We don't have to wait till 2017.
Right, but I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but if we get that money, I would apply it towards the principal immediately. Is that what you would
That's
do?
what you said.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, right.
Right.
So I wouldn't have to wait till 2017.
Right,
In a municipal loan, you have the option to pay ahead without any penalties. And then I don't think PNC got what I was doing, because we changed this all like the last 2 hours. I mean, it was like we were changing it all day long, so I don't think he got so he only gave it to me for 2 years, and it was $38,000. But if we wanted to finance, like, let's say $125,000, which is only about the $30,000 difference with the grant, even if we got it, we would be able to finance $130,000, only using $45,000 of the capital improvement budget,
Which
basically.
would give us an opportunity to use the other.
Right, that would be
capital for something
banking
else.
on it, okay, on that.
Right.
But if you wanted to, finance it. So John Deere was offering 3.5% at 7 years, so that would be approximately $27,000. First payment due in 2017. PNC is 3% for 5 years, $26,000. But we would start immediately as soon as we took delivery of the equipment. And then PNC also offered 3.5% for 7 years, and would reduce the payment to $20,153. So, I mean, at this time, it would be my recommendation to either go with I'd like to see us finance the 125 and maybe go for the 5 years or the 7 years with either, with PNC. I think it's a better interest rate. That's, that would be what I would look for, but, it's council's discretion.
so you're recommending 3.5% for 7 years?
Or even the 3% for 5 years, I think would be, for the difference in price, I think that would be, either one would be
Yeah, I'm just,
recommendable.
how did they come up with this amortization schedule between John Deere and?
Well, John Deere, he gave it to me off the top of his head, so it was.
So these
Yeah,
numbers
it
are
was
just approximate.
Right, his was just approximate. I do have an amortization schedule for PNC.
Yeah, I would,
Like I said, we changed this all day long because we're trying to take delivery of the equipment. because he had it on site. And he was like, if we don't, you know, if we don't do this evening, or we wait a week or a month or whatever, there's a good chance that the equipment will be sold. So we were trying to get it all together very quickly today. So that's why,
We had
His
this
was
on as
approximate.
a discussion point, but are you saying that, given the situation, you'd like to get it moved on tonight as well?
I would, if council is comfortable with it. If you aren't, then I could get a little bit more information. It's just that Rob is anxious to get started, the nice weather is coming. The backhoe will take, he said, 30 to 60 days, didn't he? We still have a workable backhoe, but the skid steer will probably be here by next week.
So there's no reason why we couldn't, or is there any reason why we couldn't pull this apart and motion and vote on the purchase, and then let you come back with more details about the finance options?
Well, I'd have to have financing in place before you would order the equipment,
Yeah.
you know.
Fred, you buy vehicles, what do you think about the interest rates set forth? I just would like an apple-to-apples comparison, through the vendor being or through the manufacturer being John Deere, or going through PNC. I just wanna see an apple-to-apples comparison on the amortization schedule to make sure that,
I mean, I could probably
I
get
just
that.
wanted a pickup truck.
yeah,
I got rid of the Buick, bought a pickup truck, and my interest rate through I'm with the two credit unions. The one the dealer gave me up in Kennedy Township. Then I went to my old credit union with the city that still exists, and I got it, I believe it for 2.75.
yeah.
That was for my part. I mean, that's 3%, it's not a bad rate. That was in October.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with rates, and I think they're fair rates. I just wanna get other
I mean,
members.
the guy from John Deere, he even told Rob and I it didn't matter to him. Of course, he doesn't get anything if we finance. PNC, that's who we hold all our deposits through. And that's why I wanted to provide him the opportunity to provide them. So he did, I do have a complete amortization schedule from him. I mean, compounded, monthly, I mean, I have a complete amortization schedule. The gentleman from John Deere from Murphy Tractor was here to sell the equipment, not the financing. So he was just like trying to throw it in off the top of his head. So that's why he said that 28,000 was probably a little high, but in comparison, 3% for 5 years is 26,000, 3.5% for 7 years is 28. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty close to what it's
Oh
going to be.
yeah, I'm just trying to engage the other councilors here. Councilwoman, so you have any opinions? Would you like to move?
Yeah, I'll move.
I'll second.
All right,
Okay,
so
we'll-
we'll make a motion to move forth with the purchase of, the heavy equipment purchase, presented to, Crafton Council, as described as one John Deere 310 SLHL backhoe loader at a, gross cost of $130,049. A second piece of equipment, a John Deere 326E skid steer with asphalt road hog mill at a gross cost of $91,388.00. Again, $91,388.00 for a subtotal cost of $221,437. Netting all applicable discounts and trade-ins for a total equipment purchased under finance for $169,588.00, with funding from the capital improvement, and this is where we need to put forth. I would entertain the option 2 of $45,000 down, and provided that grant money is secured, that said grant money is applied immediately to said principal of option 2 financing at 3.5% for 7 years through PNC.
You want to
Is
do
there-
3.5%.
Pardon me?
Are you sure you want the
3.5%?
3.5%? I'd recommend the 3% for 5 years, it's about $10,000.
Yeah, but if we ramp the schedule, it gives us flexibility.
Very good, all right.
So what do you want to do?
If we stick with the 3.5 for 7 years, it provides future councils flexibility in paying the debt. Future councils or this council can make,
Okay,
ramp the,
so that was the motion.
So moved.
Did somebody second it? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I moved,
Oh.
or did you move and I
Oh,
seconded?
you moved, okay, pardon me.
Uh, All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next is an announcement. Representative Dan Deasy and Senator Wayne Fontana, along with Crampton Borough, are hosting a shred event on Saturday, April 23rd, 2016, at Crafton Park. And that's it for that. Next, any other discussion items anyone wants to bring up?
What's the time on that shredding?
I believe it's 10 to 2, isn't it 10 to 2, the shredding event?
I don't recall, I think.
Yeah, I don't recall, it's over at the office, I can let you know.
Sitting on the wall.
Yeah, oh yeah, go look at out there. It is on the website.
Ten to 1.
10 to 1.
Next on the agenda is additional citizen comments. So, would anyone like to speak?
We skipped over discussion items, discussion items. We skipped over 12.
We
No, I think-
We did ask.
Oh, sorry,
That's okay.
I'm sorry, I spaced out.
Did you want to talk?
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Okay.
The prior announcement, 7, for Public Works, the shred event, it came to my attention separately in my private life. I was doing some research and I was in conversation with Waste Management, and I was curious, did we learn any more information, Manager Scott, about the Baxter program and the applicability and use of that program in the borough, and the possibility of being a participant in the PA Clean Waste program, and providing the opportunity for a cleanup day where the residents of Crafton Borough will be able to take advantage of a no cost to the residents cleanup
Well,
day.
there's a cost for the dumpster.
Yes, but it costs to the borough, but,
There's a cost to the borough.
right, cost to the borough, but to the, residents that day, there would not be a tipping fee, a disposal fee through this Cleanway program. I was just curious,
I never heard back from the Boy Scouts, because in the past, they have always done a cleanup event. And so I didn't really, Rob and I spoke about it, we discussed it, and that we were all told that the Boy Scouts have always done this cleanup. I've contacted them twice, they've never contacted me back, so I don't know if they're,
So what have the Boy Scouts got to do with this?
because they did the cleanup event.
The
for the
same,
community.
the same program?
They pay for the dumpster. So,
Okay,
yeah.
but you
They
got
actually had a
no
dumpster
response?
dump. Here's what happened, I'll give you just an example of how we experienced this last year. Boy Scouts does the cleanup, community cleanup. They brought in a 30-yard dumpster, which I said there's not enough litter. Cleanups usually consist of going around to different blighted areas, picking up litter and
Mm-hmm,
debris. The Red Up program that
right,
came out, which we were instrumental in actually developing with the group. When I seen that size of that dumpster, I spoke to the Boy Scout leader, said, oh, you don't have enough litter to craft it, you can close to film that. I get a call on Saturday, he says, is it okay if we leave stuff outside the dumpster? I said, where did you get all this stuff? He goes, oh, we just got it all through the borough. I said, put it there, we'll pick it up. Unbeknownst to me, I come out, there was couches, beds, refrigerator, I mean, they actually went door to door. And that's people, I don't know how they announced it, but they went door to door to every resident in the borough, that I understand, took out their basements and put it in the dumpster.
Yeah.
For a donation. So there was a program that was done by the Boy Scouts. When he said clean up, to me is going in and pick up litter and debris that's, throughout the community.
So we didn't have clear understanding about what they were doing.
No, there was no,
And so,
My support of this idea would enable residents, since we're encouraging residents to move to the borough and to invest in these properties that need a lot of construction and demolition. This program would enable us to provide an affordable means of providing a way of disposing of construction and demolition materials. Obviously within reason, let's say you're working on a kitchen and you have plaster material or any other type of material that you necessarily wouldn't want to put another person at risk managing. A volunteer from the Boy Scouts, you wouldn't want that liability, and I wouldn't want to see the Boy Scouts get involved with the construction and demolition materials, but provide a safe, convenient means of cleaning up that type of material. If you're planning to do a spring renovation project and you have a manageable amount of information of this waste that would be economic to the borough. From what I understand, it's $175 per dumpster, and I think it's a very large 30-yard size dumpster for residents to use in April. So it's just an idea to think about. If we could do that, or help people if they're cleaning out their garage and they don't necessarily want to get the Boy Scouts involved just because of liability reasons. It's something I was going to mention later on, but because I learned about this, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to provide a clean update to the residents. Maybe as council, we could consider helping the residents do this, because there are several communities that do this. There are obviously pros and cons. You don't want people abusing the privilege and opportunity, but within reason, I think there's a conversation.
probably needed some more discussion.
Yeah.
Because then it's gonna happen.
Well, it's in April.
Well, no, I mean,
Yeah,
if
that's
Crafton
what-
does anything, it's gonna be different than PA Cleanways.
Well, it's a $175 deal, is for the, like a day in April. That's it. It doesn't go in May, it doesn't go in June, it's just for a day in April. PA Cleanways is usually for cleaning up like litter and debris along the trail, and
I know, well,
it's
well aware of the
not
runoff
for,
problem, but-
it's not for dumping of like
Yeah, and I want
construction
more
equipment.
more clarification, because obviously our rep, Mike, I don't know Mike's last, was Mike's
Chris.
last? Mike Christ, didn't have all the details, but I think it's something we could take advantage of, regardless if it's outside of the C&D, construction and demolition type materials, if it's just general cleanup around the properties, around the parks, etc. I think we can always do more. There's a lot of, it's very well known in the Western Pennsylvania area, we have a problem with illegal dumping, and we can be proactive and combat these tendencies by making it easy for residents to do the right thing, at least our residents to do the right thing with their waste. So that's the discussion I have on that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other discussion items?
Ms. Davis, were you gonna come back around? Okay.
We just take a second to welcome our new Grafton Borough family member, Catherine, who's worked up in the borough office.
Welcome.
So welcome
Welcome
to
aboard.
Grafton's family here.
Thank you.
Catherine, stand up and make yourself known to the
Oh,
audience, so
sure.
everybody
Hello.
knows your friendly face.
Hi.
Could you come up front?
Oh,
Yeah, please introduce yourself to the community.
Okay. Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm the new part-time administrative, or in the administrative office with Ian and Charisma. Everybody else, I'm happy to be a part of this big group of people. Everyone's been welcoming and looking forward to the future. So thanks.
Thank you for serving.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you. Any additional citizen comments? And I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
So moved. Yeah. Aye.
Aye.
I-